AAA Worlds Collide was last night immediately following SmackDown on the WWE YouTube channel. I highly recommend this show, this promotion. If you don't know what this is or what I'm talking about, AAA is a Mexican promotion, mainly Lucha Libre, but not exclusive. There are some, I believe that aren't. I don't know. Maybe it is. No, because Omos, while does give off the Lucha Libre presentation, I don't think he qualifies. So no, it's predominantly Lucha Libres, and this is a promotion that was bought by WWE/TKO, and now we are starting to see it more so in the United States. WWE ran a Worlds Collide PLE for AAA on their YouTube channel last night, and I watched it. I loved the AAA Triple Mania just a couple months back. Did a review, and I thought I would watch it again and do a review again. Oh, and hot takes will be up later. So it opens up with Penta. Penta comes out, of WWE fame. You're gonna see a lot of WWE guys and gals in tonight's. There's, Worlds Collide. So Penta opens up. I'm definitely not against someone coming out and cutting a promo in Spanish. This is predominantly a Mexican audience. However, when you present it on the WWE United States channel, YouTube channel, I would suggest turning down the volume on the person speaking and having Conan, who was a commentator, I would suggest he then says, all right, I'm going to translate for our American, our English-speaking viewers. Now, when it comes to the event being broadcast on the Spanish YouTube channel, then who cares? Let them. You don't need to turn him down. You turn him up, and he can speak whenever he wants. But thankfully, Penta is very charismatic, even if I can't understand him. So through body language and stuff, I can still be kind of entertained. But yeah, that's just my one gripe, but not a big one. Then we go into an 8-man tag match where you got La Parka. I love La Parka. Not only am I a huge La Parka fan back from WCW, but I really enjoyed him in AAA's Triple Mania. I wish he had a solo match here. I really wish he had a solo match because I don't think he was able to really shine within this 8-man dynamic. Not that he did bad or anything, but we have La Parka, Octagon Jr., who is actually, for our United States, or for people who aren't aware of AAA, really, Octagon Jr. is actually the reason why we have Pentagon Jr. Pentagon is like the Joker to Octagon. That's how historically it's been, but Penta has kind of like outgrown that. I guess he's more like Harley Quinn, in that eventually Harley Quinn outgrew the Joker and Batman. But anyways, we got Lacardo Kid and Mascarada Sagrada. I did not know who Largado Kid is. He was great, though. He was great. But Mascarada, I knew him. I've been watching Lucha Underground lately. I'm only on episode 12, so no spoilers. And Mascarada is actually in Lucha Underground a lot, so it's kind of cool for me seeing him. Like, for some dude who is 85% clueless when it comes to Lucha Libre and the history of it in Mexico, it was cool for me to be like, hey, there's my guy from Lucha Underground. Lucha. I hope that was not disrespectful. If it was, please forgive me. And then tell me, and I'll just go on YouTube and edit it out. And then they fought Cruz del Toro and Walkin' Wild, who is Hat Guy, No Hat Guy of the LWO, which is weird because, why is the LWO being villains here? And then Lince Dorado and Minnie Asmo, I don't know how to pronounce these names. I apologize. But I will say there was a cool thing too. Somebody asked about the minis. And Conan was like, yeah, they're a big part of Mexican culture. At first they were kind of brought in as like comedy, but now they just shine like everybody else. I thought that was a cool little thing. Now, there's no way possible for me to go through these matches because these matches are all insane. Every single match is insane, and I say that in a good way. I loved it. It was great. You probably want to go out of your way and watch all of these matches. I highly recommend that you sit down, go onto WWE YouTube channel and search up Worlds Collide. Make sure you're watching the English version. If you speak English or whatever language you speak, go find that version. But this was just, I cannot call these matches because they're so insane and good and amazing, and just the quality is just off the charts. The good guys win. The good guys win. We have then number 5, Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice, who I am becoming a big fan of Lola Vice. I think she is a great, I don't know, you really connect with her on some emotional level. They've done a really good job at building up Lola Vice. She's an NXT gal, and she's fighting with Mr. Iguana. I don't know why this feud is happening, but they are fighting Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. And Finn Balor had Demonito. Demonito being a puppet that was introduced at Triple Mania. And he is the counter, the arch nemesis of Mr. Iguana's Iguana. And that's hilarious. It's funny. There was this one crazy funny sequence when Mr. Iguana, he takes the bag that Demonito is in, throws it under the ring, and then later in the match, Demonito pops out. And then Finn Balor's like, no, you can't come out. And it's like, JBL is just freaking out this whole entire time because, for one, he's freaking out that Demonito is present, but then he's like, who is doing Demonito? Because Roxanne Perez is on the apron and Finn Balor is in the ring. So it's we never find out either. Is that Demonito just sentient like Chucky, or it was someone under the ring? We don't know. Eventually, Demonito and Iguana will fight, and there was also another funny sequence when Demonito was outside the ring, and Mr. Iguana threw the Iguana, and the Iguana does a suicide dive and takes out Demonito. It's just, this is one of those it becomes a comedy match where it's not, it's weird. It doesn't bury Finn Balor. It just doesn't. It doesn't bury Finn Balor, even though it's humorous. And I don't know how. I don't know why. Sometimes humor can be cheesy, crazy, and even borderline cringe and still work. And sometimes it can't. But for me, it worked here. Lola Vice will pin Roxanne Perez. Raquel Rodriguez tried to get involved here and there, but at the end of the day, Lola Vice does the pin. And I wish Judgment Day would have won. I really like how Judgment Day is presented in AAA because they're presented as a threat. They're actually presented they know what they're doing. They're on the same page. They're a good team, a good faction. While in WWE, it seems like on Monday Night Raw, they're treated, I wouldn't say they're treated as a joke, but they're definitely not treated as that much of a threat to the roster. The Vision doesn't even mention them or talk about them. They're such a non-entity. But in AAA, they seem tough. But at the end of the day, they lost here. It was probably the right call. Lola Vice could use the win going into she's in a program with Jancy Jane right now. And she could definitely use some wins in order to win that title. I hope Lola Vice does. I know she's gone after the title a couple times, and I would like for her to win. But that's NXT. This is AAA, and it was a good match. It was a fun match. I would say this was a fun match. I do like JBL going crazy on the mic. I like that he has personality, and this was a good commentating team. Having the trio of JBL, Corey Graves, and Conan, great team. Conan adds a lot to a two-man group, but Conan in a two-man group, not so much, if that makes sense. We then go to a number 1 contenders match for the AAA title, and that's Natty. There is a difference. Natty is a more violent, aggressive, independent wrestler, while Natalya is is Pink Cowboy Hat, Yeehaw on Monday Night Raw, versus Fabi Apache, I probably pronounced the name wrong, and Natalia won. Another good match. It's Natty, very aggressive. This is the Natty we need to get. I don't know why we don't get this Natty. I just don't know why. We could use this Natty fighting in the main event scene. This Natty could go up against Tiffany Stratton, so Tiffany can fight someone other than Nia Jax and or Jade Cargill. I would love for Natty to make it to the roster. She won, and they continued having some beef after. I will also say this, just to rewind it just a little. I was half an hour, 45 minutes late to watching, so I actually had to go back and watch everything. So I jumped in at the tail end of the 8-man tag match, but I did go back and watch everything. So then we do the AAA tag team titles, where we have Psycho Clown and Pagano versus the New Day, and unfortunately, Xavier Woods had just had head surgery. Apparently, Penta and all of his destructiveness has caused Xavier Woods to have to take surgery. So he had head surgery, but risking his life, and this is Xavier Woods' words, okay? Risking his life, he still got on the flight so he could support Kofi Kingston and Big G, Grayson Waller, in this match. And Xavier Woods is such a hero. He just had head surgery 24 hours beforehand. And so, I just gotta say, thank God for thank God for the New Day and Xavier Woods. This was a good match. It was a great match. It was an awesome match. There was just, again, boom, 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 boom. Loved it. Now, Psycho Clown and we're just gonna say the clowns, the clown army, they won. There was a funny sequence where Xavier Woods Psycho Clown rips off the face in front of Xavier Woods, and he freaks out and he panics. And this is actually true to Xavier Woods' character. When the New Day fought the Wyatts way back when, like 2001, 16, 17, Xavier Woods is scared. He is scared of the supernatural stuff. He is a character that is very much creeped out by stuff like this. And they played off that he was scared of clowns too. So this actually was on brand with Xavier Woods, and he runs all the way to the back, and this allows the clowns to beat Kofi and Grayson Waller. And I will say this, there was also one time where they kind of flipped. They flipped Kofi, and he didn't quite land on his feet, but he landed a little awkward, and Kofi, to his credit, started walking exactly like how he landed to make it seem like he had not made a mistake, and I loved that. I think that was a very small detail on how good Kofi is that most people won't pick up on. Great match, fun match, awesome match, but then, after the match, the Wyatts came out, and we had the Wyatts just decimate the clowns. And so, I do believe, if I remember correctly from Triple Mania, the clowns have 2 more clowns. So get them all in a paddy wagon, get them to the ring, and we can have the Wyatts versus the clowns. And there you go. I don't know if there's a female clown, so Nikki Cross might just be on the outside, but looks like the Wyatts versus the clowns. That's a good use. That's a good use of the Wyatts. I can see the Wyatts. The Wyatt 6 could do a lot more of their spooky part of their gimmick, probably in AAA. They're probably a little more forgiving than the United States audience, and I'm guilty of that too. I like creepy, not spooky, but in AAA, it seems like you're allowed to do more, and it feels a little more natural. Then Latin American Championship, a fatal 4-way between Dr. Wagner, Dragon Lee, Ethan Page, and JD McDonough. And this was, again, a stellar match, a super match, an awesome match. There was a cool sequence when Ethan Page, I think he catches Dragon Lee's foot, he throws it into JD McDonough head, then they kick Dragon Lee, then Wagner kicks Ethan Page, something like that. I don't even know, but at end result, everybody gets kicked basically, and Ethan Page falls on Dragon Lee, only to be broken up by, I believe, Von Wagner, and it was cool. It was good. My only beef with this match is I feel like Von Wagner did not actually get enough offense in. This very much felt like a WWE triple threat with Von Wagner jumping in every once in a while, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's the champ. And so it was a little disrespectful to me. I think that he should have got more offense in. Now, I love that JD got a showcase, that Ethan Page got a showcase, and Dragon Lee got a showcase. These are guys who are not in the main event scene, so they don't always get to actually be presented as a threat. So it was really cool to see JD just looking tough, honestly, and same with Dragon Lee. Ethan Page has been kind of positioned as a threat in NXT. But yeah, so that was cool, but I wanted to see more of Von Wagner interacting with these guys, because it's like, this is his championship. We're on his turf. So it was a little disrespectful, like when Kane won the TLC match, when Hurricane Helms wasn't even allowed in the match, because it just seemed like Von Wagner at the end just comes in, does a splash, and then pins and wins. And it's like, I would have just liked to see more of him, but the match itself was really, really good. And this was one of the first instances where I saw that they really just focused in on the WWE guys and just kind of neglected the homegrown talent, even though he was part of the match. Doesn't ruin anything. The match is still stellar. I think it's just something they need to be aware of and keep an eye on so they don't do it again. And it's okay. Hey, this is a learning process. You know, when a company acquires another company, you do tend to default with your guys as opposed to their guys. But I think we can make it more synergy. That's what the corporate bigwigs, they like words like that. So then we go to the final match, which is Vikingo versus Dominik Mysterio. Earlier in the evening, there was also a confrontation between Dom and his deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio. His dad, Rey Mysterio, and he basically said, if I win, you have to put the belt around me. And Rey was like, yeah, I'll do that. And there was a big deal about Rey never winning the AAA Mega Champion, but Conan will clarify in commentary and say, hey, I know people say that Rey hasn't won it, but when Rey was able to win it, we were in a weight class, so Rey actually never had an opportunity to win it. So they do explain that, but it's funny that Dirty Dom won't ever say that. He's just going to say, you didn't win, I did, I'm the greatest luchador of all time. So, that said, Dom has a match. It's a great match. It's an awesome match. And what was the sequence? There was a sequence at the end where, Finn Balor and JD, they come out even though they said they wouldn't. Dragon Lee and Mysterio, they get him away. But then we have Grande Americano get involved. He gets involved and we get a cover. It was like, we were all like, yes, Dom's about to win this. And then boom, Vikingo kicked out, and I thought it was over at that point. I was like, oh man, that was it. They should have done it. Grande interfered, and it still didn't happen, so it was like, I thought it was going to be Vikingo, but it kept going on, and it was just, the sequences were great. Dom is so good. We get to see Dom more. Vikingo was really good too, but they booed him because Vikingo is very much their Roman Reigns of 2015, where I guess he's just being crammed down everybody's throat, and nobody wants to cheer him, even though he is really good. There was a sequence also when Vikingo's like, shh, and he's gonna like chop him. Everybody booed. Nobody would be quiet. But later, Dom did shh, and everybody went silent, and he chopped him. So that just shows you how much they hate him. But it was a good match, great match, and eventually, Grande Americano, Vikingo was trying to take off Grande Americano's mask. Grande slips something to Dom. Dom puts that something in his head, headbutt. It's over. Dominik Mysterio becomes the AAA Mega Champion. He's a 2-time champion, where we have him now as Mega Champion and Intercontinental Champion. And fun fact, right now, TNA and AAA, their top titles are both held by WWE guys, with Trick Williams being the guy who holds TNA. So it's like, interesting. So yeah, but Dom, I love that. I love that. And then Ray has to come in. Ray gives him the belt, but Dom's like, no, put it on me. Put it on me. He gets right in his face. Dom is such a horrible person to Rey Mysterio. It's hilarious that people still like him. Also, another funny thing is TTJC pointed this out during commentary. Conan would not stick up for Ray, even though they're like best friends. JBL was just like, he's a deadbeat, and Conan wouldn't say nothing about it, even though he's like, yeah, Dom's my godson. So that was kind of funny too. But yeah, so Dom is just like berating Ray until Ray puts it around him. Then the Judgment Day come out, they celebrate, and Rey Mysterio has to awkwardly leave. And then Grande Americano comes and he hugs him and stuff, so that alliance is stronger than ever. I don't know if I was reading into this, but it did look like Finn Balor gave Dom a look when he hugged Grande Americano. I could be wrong about that, but we got to watch out for that. But right now, it was just a grand old celebration with Dirty Dom being the AAA champion, and the fans loved it. I feel Liv Morgan should have came out as well. I addressed this in hot takes, but Liv Morgan was in Vegas, but she didn't come out, so that was a little weird. I do think that she should have been there since she was already there. It would have been an easy celebration. Didn't have to buy an extra ticket or anything. But that said, minor gripes. This was another stellar banger PLE. Next time AAA does anything where you are able to watch, I highly recommend it. I'm going to give this event I'm going to give it a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you want to give it a high 8, I could understand, though. I could understand a high 8. Only two problems I had was I wanted to see more Van Wagner in the match and maybe a translator for Penta. That's about it, but think about it. If this was predominantly aimed at a Mexican audience, then the translator thing wouldn't have been an issue. Therefore, the only issue would have been Von Wagner not necessarily getting enough time in his match. So 9. I'm giving it a 9. All right, boys. All right, girls. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and you have yourself a great day.